Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the channel. This is day 8 of our Sturgis adventure, part 7 in the series. So what are we doing today? Well, let's see. Today we're going to go back and do Devil's Tower. Supposed to be no rain today, but it is supposed to be noticeably cooler. Which just means that now we have to bring jackets and such. But hopefully, not the rain gear. So we're going to run up to Devil's Tower. We're going to go back to Sturgis to argue with the Harley people again. I mean, check in with the hog tent. And then we'll probably also go back and catch those pigtails that we somehow avoided on Iron Mountain Road. Whatever else we do, who knows? Let's see on today's Graybeard Biker. Now, if you have followed along in the series, you know that I've been chasing this second Sturgis Challenge prize for a few days now. For anyone new here, the Sturgis Challenge is Harley-Davidson's app-based rally event. You check in at dealerships and partner locations all across the Black Hills in order to earn rewards. Sounds simple enough. Unless they're closed when you show up. Now, I first learned of these being a thing when I went to Laconia. I went there and I found out via Facebook, I believe, that they were having this thing that they called a push challenge. Now, I haven't heard it called a push challenge since by anybody other than me, but I continue to call it that. I don't want it, but I like it.
You just want to copper it all, though?
Do I check in with you?
Yes, you did a challenge?
I did.
All right, let's see. 6 out of 6. Very good. Not for a guy like you.
So we came to Sturgis to check into the hog tent, and the guy at Pappy's said that I would get a pen. I didn't get a pen. I got the same thing that they gave me over at Pappy's, which is one of these big coins. I'll show you the picture. So what I'm going to do is devise a contest for one of you guys to get this. If you want it, put the word Sturgis in the comment section of any of the videos in this entire series. You can vote as many times as you like, on as many videos as you like, and then we will draw a winner from all of those separate entries, and then we'll send it out. So again, the word is Sturgis in the comments below, and you will get a copy of that. After hitting them up first, we did some more vendor exploring and eventually ended up at Loud American Roadhouse for lunch. There's that golf scorecard menu in pencil again. Must be a South Dakota thing? Right now, we're going to Devil's Tower. And before we do that, I got here a new lid. This is the Micro Dot lid, which happens to be the same helmet that's used in the Mayans TV show. It's extremely light, extremely thin, and I do not need this in South Dakota or Wyoming, where we're going. However, I need it in Georgia, and I have no place to put it. So that means I'm going to wear it. So, we're going to get going, and we'll let you see what the ride looks like. Some of the ride, and then Devil's Tower. So we headed west towards the Devil's Tower. It's about 85 miles out of Sturgis across the Wyoming line. The majority of the way, plains. Lots of grassy plains. We stopped at the Wyoming-South Dakota state line, met some other bikers that helped us to take some photos. It's good to meet you folks. All right, so we are going to put our channel sticker on the state sign. So just a reminder, anytime you see one of our stickers anywhere, whether it's on a state sign or on one of the many motorcycle roads that exist, or anywhere anybody else puts them, because I have found them where other people have ordered a t-shirt or something and then put a sticker up. Anytime that you see one, take a picture of yourself with it, and then you can tag us on social media, Graybeard Biker, and we'll mention you in the next episode that we shoot after that. So if you see it, take a picture, share it with us on social media, and we'll mention you. Now, the route that we took passed through a tiny old coal mining town called Aladdin, Wyoming. Population 15. Yes, that's the real number, 15. Now, we didn't get much footage of Aladdin, but I'll tell you about it anyway. It sits right along Highway 24, and it's one of those blink and you'll miss it type of towns. Just a general store, a post office, and a few houses. Now, the Aladdin General Store has been standing here since 1896, and it's listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. It's one of the tiniest towns in America. Again, population 15. Originally a coal mining town, it thrived when the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad ran through here. Today, most of the mines are just gone, but the Aladdin General Store, still here. Tiny town, big history. And it's also the only thing you'll see before you get to Hulett. So it's a good place to stretch your legs. From there, the landscape starts to change, and suddenly Devil's Tower appears on the horizon, that massive column rising out of nowhere. Now, the first thing that you'll see is this plaque. And then if you look to your left, you can see Devil's Tower peeking out from beyond the horizon there. And then when we finally got to Hulett, Wyoming actually did have a vendor tent for the rally. Its population is a little bigger than Aladdin. There's probably around 300 people registered here. But this town was also established in 1896. Big year. Now it sits only 9 miles from Devil's Tower, and it's tucked beneath some red sandstone cliffs and the river. There's a museum, a rodeo, a few cafes, some saloons, enough to give your ride a break. Not just in mileage, but also it's a change of scenery. And you'll also want to make sure that you stop at their gas station, because it's the only gas station that I saw outside of Sturgis between there and the Devil's Tower. And before you head back, make sure you top off that gas. You don't want to run out where AAA can't get to you. Devil's Tower is this rock column that they say was formed about 50 billion years ago when the magma cooled underground and erosion started to kind of expose what we see here over time. I don't know about the 50 million years ago thing, but people that believe in carbon dating, they think that's true. Now, it rises 867 feet from the base to the top, and it's 1,267 feet above the river. It actually became the first U.S. national monument in 1906, designated as such by President Teddy Roosevelt. Now, to the Native American Indian tribes, including the Lakota, which we talked a lot about being in Sturgis, but also the Cheyenne and the Kiowa Indian tribes. To them, this is a sacred site, also called Bear's Lodge or Bear's Teepee. So why is it called the Devil's Tower? Well, that came from a translation error by an early surveyor, and it stuck. Now, it became a major rock climbing destination for those that do that, starting in the 1800s. But there is a voluntary climbing closure every June out of respect for tribal ceremonies. I don't know anything about that. I don't know if it's enforced, how it's observed, any of that. I don't climb rocks. I've seen Cliffhanger though. Now, we saw it, but we didn't go into the park because it's already getting late. But we did go into the store there, and that's where I discovered an alien tie-in. Being related to Indians, not a surprise. Being related to rock climbing, not a surprise. But we went in this store and there's this alien stuff everywhere. And I had no idea where it was coming from. So I asked and was reminded something that most of you probably remembered on your own. And that is that it was used extensively in Steven Spielberg's movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, back in 1977. Ever since that film, it's had an association with UFOs and alien folklore. A fun little piece of trivia that draws visitors in from all over. Here's a fun little montage. everybody. We're going to call it Steelwork. What's up, boys? I thought it was great. Love this weird stuff. Now, if you remember when we were in the Badlands and some other places, there's been lots of movies shot out here near Sturgis. Now, after spending some time here, we headed back towards Sturgis, Rapid City, and the cabin. The ride out and back makes for a solid day trip. And then the sun goes down on the Great Plains and it gets cold.
Out my shoes pretty badly.
But they're going to keep you warm.
Yes, and they look amazing. What?
Once we finally got back to the cabin, I decided to thaw out once again in the hot tub. So here I am back from the final day of our trip to Sturgis, the rally. And today, of course, we did Sturgis again, the main vendor area, downtown Sturgis. And then we went to Devil's Tower in Area 18. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. One of the things that happened that we were actually aware of before we left this morning was that it was going to be the coldest day, the coolest day since we got here. Now, we did manage to avoid rain today, but the high was supposed to be around 69 today. Now, if that's the high, then I go up and down mountains and the sun comes down. By the time we got home, it was chilly. It was probably around, 50 degrees or so. And so I am now sitting in the cabin's hot tub, thawing out. So, so it's been a good trip. Tomorrow is the day that we pack up and go back to Atlanta. And along the way, we'll stop at more HD dealerships in the different states on the way back down. So be sure to stay tuned in for that one. Don't forget about the giveaway that we are doing with the Sturgis Rally Challenge coin. And again, for that, all you have to do is type the word Sturgis in any video from this series. You can enter as many times as you want. All you have to do is enter the word Sturgis, and then we will pick a winner from all of the different entries from there. And good luck. May the odds ever be in your favor.
Happy Hunger Games, and may the odds be ever in your favor.
And until next time, stay free. Keep it shiny side up.